started. Yeah, I got the light. He got the light. We got the light. What you know about it? So much light. More light than a spike in your power bill. Or a match when it strike, we devour ill. They don't know how to feel. Their minds.
So far, 2023 has been really good when it comes to releases, especially around August. Baldur's Gate 3 became the big RPG that everyone but me got, and then Starfield came out just around the corner. But the two games I've been looking forward to this year are Bomb Rush Cyberfunk and Armored Core 6. Instead of doing a full review on both titles, I just want to talk about my first impressions with them after a couple of hours with each game. I haven't played Jet Set Radio Future in years, so I'm going off of nostalgia when I compare it to Bomb Rush, and despite my efforts, I couldn't find a way to play Armored Core 4 or 5 before 6 dropped. So originally, I had a bit here where I made an excuse for why I couldn't run RPCS3 and play AC4, 5, or their expansions before getting into 6. The Batman clips are a joke about how running RPCS3 made my fan spin up in a way that scared me. But I thought that was a weak-ass excuse and I tried it again. And it works. Mostly. Everything ran fine up until an early mission where too many things were happening on screen and it tanked the performance. But I was able to do a handful of Chapter 1 sorties without a hitch. Unfortunately, I still couldn't get a full playthrough done before 6 dropped, so the point still stands that I'll be mostly clueless when it comes to comparing 6 to the 7th gen titles, but I can still compare it against my time with AC3. I'll slip in additional clips and comments about AC4 later in the video when I talk about AC6 whenever they become relevant.
I'm glad you're alright. Let's go home.
Just get gay. Just get gay. Just get gay.
I don't have much to say about Bomb Rush, other than I think that it's a perfect counterexample to Wanted Dead. Where Wanted Dead was trading on its team being known for making a beloved classic, the only connection Bomb Rush has to the Jet Set Radio games is that some of its tracks are composed by Hideki Naganuma, the composer for the JSR series. Again, I'm operating on nostalgia when I compare Bomb Rush to Future, but I like the beginning chapter to Bomb Rush because it's literally Dark Souls. You start with your character in captivity, and he gets rescued by another character. There, that's the FromSoft connection for this video. And just like in Dark Souls, you die sooner than you expect. As much as I liked the game the moment I started it, I did think that my guy looked too generic to be a pro tag. I guess Team Reptile felt the same way because they gave us a makeover. Nice RoboCop reference, guys.
You're gonna be a bad motherfucker.
New head, new friends, and new goals. We gotta stop the baddest guys in town if we want to get our head back to where it belongs. But first, we gotta make our mark on the town. I like that Bomb Rush makes it clear from the start that it's not trying to faithfully mimic JSR's design, but rather to develop from it. The first thing you'll learn is how to move about on foot, and then your buddy gives you a pair of skates and a backpack. You can switch between on foot and skates on the fly. Already, this is a departure from JSR. This isn't just a flashy gimmick either. Being on foot lets you fight enemies using the face buttons. When you switch over to skates, you can do tricks in the air or on rails using those same face buttons. Team Reptile is creating a connection in your head between tricks and attacks. Being on foot also lets you slide through cracks in the walls that you couldn't pass through if you had your skates on. But being on skates lets you ride along walls. The backpack lets you double jump in the air, as well as boost in the ground for extra speed. The double jump is so handy because it helps you link your tricks as you skate through the levels. Once you've learned how to move, then you'll learn how to spray. Press right trigger to use your spray can. When you're near walls with tags from rival gangs, you can spray over them with your own tags. The first JSR made you perform directional prompts to spray your tag. I grew up on Future, which removed that mechanic in favor of putting more tag prompts on walls and alongside rails to encourage moving around a level. Bomb Rush brings back the directional prompts, but does its own spin. Instead of matching the sequence of directions that appear on screen, you have to connect the dots to get the tag you want. This allows you to spray multiple tags of the same size, because they can be mapped to different patterns. I like it, but the first few times I did it, I felt the momentum of the game die for a bit. That might be my bias with Future coloring my opinion though. Bomb Rush looks virtually like the JSR games, so mission accomplished to Team Reptile on that front. The music is appropriately catchy, but it's gonna take some time for these songs to worm their way into my brain, the way Naganuma used to do in Future. I didn't get far into the game past the starting area, so I'll hold off on my opinion on the game as a whole for now. I got friends who already beat it and say that it's a bit too easy for its own good, but they still liked it overall. I might come back to it as a double feature with another action sports game that I wanted to cover last year. Now let's talk about Armored Core.
Who are you? An older type of augmented human, 4th generation. Have we made contact?
I'm not gonna mince words. This is my favorite From Software game. Like, ever. Even more so than OG Demon Souls, and I'm a ride or die for OG Demon Souls. Despite all the complaints about the first few bosses, I really think this is the most accessible From Software has been when it comes to their games. If you've played an Armored Core title before, then you'll feel right at home with 6. You take on jobs, get paid for those jobs, use that money to buy parts to customize your AC, and repeat. As you progress, the game unlocks more features in the menu so that you can participate in arena fights, do training modules, and develop your AC's OS, which is the game's conceit for unlocking passive skills and additional attacks that are separate from your weapons. You can customize your AC to your heart's content, and your only limit is your bank account and your AC's weight load. Which type of legs you equip affect how much weight your AC can carry and how it moves in the battlefield. Standard biped legs move like you'd expect. Reverse joint legs let you jump higher without expending any energy. Quad legs let you hover in the air, and tank treads let you drift and turn on a dime. Most of your weapons will require tracking. How effective your AC is at tracking depends on your fire control system. You fire your left and right-handed weapons with the triggers, and fire your back-mounted weapons with the shoulder buttons. Moving the AC feels slow at first, but you can boost along the surface by pressing B. Pressing X lets you dodge attacks with a quick boost, but you don't have iframes in this game. If you have to cover a long distance, you can assault boost by pressing in left stick. All of this is standard fare for Armored Core, but the few things they've added make quite a difference in experiencing the game compared to an older title like AC3. The biggest change for me was the ability to replay sorties just after beating them the first time. In AC3, you couldn't replay sorties until after you beat the campaign. Your incentive for replaying sorties is to get ranked on your performance. This speaks to the goblin in my head that compels me to play character action games, but the requirements for each rank isn't made transparent to you. It's not a big deal if you're just going through the campaign, but the other incentive to replaying sorties is that you always get paid the same amount no matter how many times you replayed. This is why you replay sorties, to grind enough credits to get the parts you want from the shop. I'm still at the end of Chapter 2, but I'm already sitting on 9 million credits because I've been trying to S-rank all my past sorties. Also, if you die mid-sortie, you have the option of either starting from the beginning or starting from a checkpoint. No precious resources spent like humanity or embers, just the option to start at whichever's most convenient for you. The only trade-off comes from replaying sorties, because restarting at checkpoints locks you out of S ranks. The other major change I noticed was that the game gives you 3 repair kits at the start of each sortie. As far as I know, you can't increase the stock, but you can increase the efficacy of each kit in your OS chips. In certain sorties, you can come across resupply Sherpas that fully restock your repair kits and ammo. I think I only ever saw this happen once in AC3, and I failed that sortie, so I never got to use that feature. If I had one negative thing to say about this, is that I wish you could respec your AC mid-sortie at these Sherpas. You can already respec if you die from a fight and reload from a checkpoint, so I don't see why you can't do this without having to die first. Something else that shows that From Software really wants to ease new players in is that doing training modules rewards you with new parts. This is also reinforced in the arena as you face off against AI simulations of other AC pilots. Beating these sims rewards you with OS chips you can use to unlock those previously mentioned passive and active skills. It's important you know this from the start, because this is how you unlock the ability to swap out arm weapons in place of carrying a back weapon. It's basically weapon swapping in Souls games. A big selling point in AC6's marketing was that the lead designer on Sekiro is a director for AC6. You can feel that from the very first sortie. You can sneak around unsuspecting MTs by avoiding their lines of sight through the use of elevation in the terrain. You get a damage bonus if you attack an enemy while they're unaware. Each mech has an AP meter and an ACS meter. AP refers to a mech's health, and ACS refers to poise. Fill up the ACS meter and the mech staggers, which means it takes extra damage from any hits while it's down. Like Sekiro, different attacks have different effects on a mech's ACS. Some attacks will leave damage that stays on the meter longer than others. Your goal in every fight is to stack on the ACS damage to proc a stagger, then go in for the kill while preventing the enemy from returning the favor. At key points in the campaign, you'll fight unmanned mechs and they serve as the boss for their respective chapter. Same rules apply to them as they would you or any other mech, and I appreciate that consistency. I like how AC6 keeps it simple. 3 repair kits per sortie, maybe a resupply Sherpa midway, and break the enemy's poise to get meaty hits. Sometimes an enemy has a shield you have to break down before you can do some actual damage, and it adds an extra ticking clock factor because the shield operates on a separate timer from the ACS meter. The other game I want to compare AC6 to is Daemon X Machina. I said before that I had issues with DXM and its parts variety and overwhelming cast, and AC6 is everything I wanted from DXM. You get new parts drip fed to you with each chapter, and there's no fear of getting duplicate parts with varying stats. You know right off the bat whether a part from the shop is a direct upgrade from one you already own, or if there are nuances to its handling that make you consider your options carefully. I've heard complaints that people don't find the characters in AC6 compelling because you only hear their voices and never see their faces.
Hostile AC destroyed.
Looks like you're having fun, Taurus.
That sounds like a skill issue because I think the voice work is top notch in AC6. You know exactly what kind of work you're doing when you hear people crying out after you destroy their only chance at fighting back against the Corpos.
Damn hyenas, damaging the planet.
See that, 621? The Strider's blowing itself up. A fitting end for something built to fail.
Pilots come barreling in sounding cocky when they face you, and come out crying for their lives when you show them what a pile bunker can do.
Attacking a watch point. You're incorrigible, Handler Walter. How many of your dogs must I kill before you learn?
Many moments later.
Something I like about the arena is that each fight has a brief intro showcasing the enemy AC, and sometimes you end up facing an enemy's arena sim before confronting the actual pilot. This does such a better job in making a character memorable to me than just hearing them banter away at the mission prep screen. My only criticisms for AC6 are that I wish there was a radar on screen to help you locate enemies that are out of your field of view. AC3 used to give you radars as a back item, but they're gone in 6. Also, even though you can hardlock on an enemy by clicking in right stick, some targets just move so fast that they break off the connection and you still have to swing the camera around to find them. That's all I have to say about both games for now. I like what I see so far, and I'm hoping to dig further into both titles before the year ends.